Welcome to another deep dive, and this time we're going to tackle something that's been, well, frankly, blowing up my news feed lately, XRP.
Oh yeah, things are getting pretty wild out there.
Yeah, you sent over a bunch of articles, some analyst opinions, and man, this is some juicy stuff. A lot of buzz, a lot of speculation.
It's definitely been making waves.
So I guess our mission today, if you're up for it, is to kind of sift through all this and figure out what's actually going on. Is this just a temporary blip, or is XRP about to like rewrite the crypto rule book?
Well, I think the first thing we need to address is just how massive this recent surge has been. We're talking XRP overtaking Tether, like becoming the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap.
Just like that.
Yeah, a 30% jump in just the last 24 hours. Hit $2.46, and right now it's holding strong above $2.50.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around, huh? Like, is this even real? But before we get too lost in the numbers, I think it's worth taking a step back, looking at the bigger picture.
Right, because XRP has been here before. We can't forget that. Back in January 2018, it hit an all-time high of $3.40. So this recent surge, while impressive, isn't totally unprecedented.
I see. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. It's got some history.
Exactly. The question is, can it break through that previous ceiling? And if it does, what happens then?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question because, like, I'm seeing analysts out there already throwing around the B word, bubble, while others are practically guaranteeing, like, this massive FOMO frenzy. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's try to understand what's actually driving this growth.
Right, because is this sustainable momentum, or are we just watching a very elaborate pump and dump?
Yeah, exactly. So where do we even start? What are the key things that are like fueling this XRP rocket ship?
I think the elephant in the room is Ripple's ongoing lawsuit with the SEC. That's been hanging over XRP like a dark cloud ever since it was filed back in December 2020.
Yeah, can't exactly ignore that.
But now, with SEC Chair Gary Gensler stepping down in 2025, there's this whisper of hope, you could say.
A whisper that's maybe getting a little louder every day, especially with all the talk about, a certain crypto-friendly former president potentially making a comeback.
Right. And some analysts, like Ryan Lee from Bitget Research, are pointing to this possible regulatory shakeup as a major reason for the current optimism. It's definitely a factor.
Okay, so we've got this legal battle in the background, maybe some hope for a more crypto-friendly environment down the road, but it's not just about waiting for a regulatory savior, right? I mean, Ripple's been making some pretty bold moves of its own.
Oh, absolutely. They're about to launch their own stablecoin, RLUSD. Approval from the NYDFS is expected on December 4th.
Whoa, hold on. Their own stablecoin. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
It is. And on top of that, they've got plans for XRP ETFs.
Whoa, slow down. ETFs, like exchange-traded funds.
Yeah, exactly. Which could potentially open up the market to a whole new wave of investors.
Okay, now my head is spinning. So we've got this potential regulatory shift, a new stable coin about to drop, and maybe even ETFs on the horizon. It's almost like they're, I don't know, hedging their bets, preparing for any possible future.
It's a smart strategy, especially in a market as unpredictable as crypto.
No kidding. But let's not forget about, the people who are RB in the game, the ones who bought XRP back when it was, like a fraction of what it is now.
Right. If you were one of those early adopters, what would you do right now? Would you hold on, hoping to ride this wave even higher? Or would you cash out and, run for the hills?
That's the question, isn't it? The one we're all trying to answer. And it's one we'll be diving into a lot deeper as we continue this deep dive. Because the story of XRP is far from over, that's for sure. But before we get too lost in what-ifs and maybes, let's break down some of these developments a bit further. Let's start with Ripple's stablecoin launch. What makes RLUSD, what makes it different? Is it really as revolutionary as some people are claiming?
Well, I think what makes RLUSD interesting is it's not just another stablecoin, trying to squeeze into an already crowded market. It's coming from Ripple, a company with a real track record in finance, especially when it comes to these cross-border payments.
Right, they're not exactly newcomers.
Exactly. So that gives RLUSD instant credibility and a level of stability right out of the gate.
Plus, it's going to be plugged right into RippleNet, their global payment network.
That's right, which means we could be talking about using RLUSD for, pretty much anything. Remittances, e-commerce, you name it.
Okay, I see where the excitement's coming from, but let's put on our skeptical hats for a second. Got to stay grounded. What are the potential downsides here? Any red flags we should be watching out for with this launch?
Well, I think like with any stablecoin, there are always questions about regulation and oversight. How will the NYDFS actually ensure that RLUSD stays stable and transparent?
Yeah, good point.
And how do they prevent, misuse or manipulation? These are big questions that need very clear answers.
Definitely. And even if RLUSD is a smashing success, could it actually end up, I don't know, hurting XRP?
What do you mean?
Well, like, if people start using RLUSD for transactions, wouldn't that decrease the demand for XRP itself?
That's a sharp observation, and it's a valid concern. But I think it's important to remember that XRP and RLUSD, they're really designed for different purposes.
Okay. So how do they fit together?
Well, XRP is meant to be a bridge currency, facilitating those fast and cheap cross-border payments. While RLUSD, on the other hand, is designed as a stable store of value, pegged to the US dollar.
So they could actually work together, like use XRP to move money quickly across borders and then bam, convert it to RLUSD when you need that stability, like a 1-2 punch for global finance.
Precisely. That's where I guess you could say the real magic could happen. If Ripple can seamlessly integrate these two assets, create a single cohesive ecosystem, it could become a real force in global finance,
Yep.
a powerhouse.
All right, so we've got this potentially groundbreaking stablecoin on the way. But let's not forget about the other big news we were talking about earlier, those XRP ETFs that everyone's buzzing about.
Right, right.
Break it down for us. What's the deal with those? What are the implications if this actually happens?
Well, an ETF, an exchange-traded fund, is basically like a basket of assets, right? Traded on an exchange, just like a stock.
Got it.
So in this case, an XRP ETF would hold XRP as its underlying asset, allowing investors to get exposure to XRP without, actually having to buy and hold the cryptocurrency directly.
So it's like a more accessible, less intimidating way for traditional investors to get involved with XRP, kind of like dipping your toes in the crypto pool without having to, do a cannonball.
Exactly. And that's why so many people are excited about this possibility. It could really open the floodgates for institutional investors, pension funds, even everyday retail investors who might have been hesitant to jump directly into crypto before.
But I'm guessing there are some hurdles here, right? Like getting the SEC to actually approve these ETFs.
Well, you're not wrong. The SEC has been very cautious, you could say, about approving crypto ETFs. They've rejected tons of applications over the years, citing concerns about market manipulation, custody issues, investor protection, all that.
And let's be real, that whole legal battle with Ripple probably doesn't make them super eager to give XRP ETFs the green light.
Yeah, you could say that.
It's almost like, asking your rival to prom after you just had a very public argument.
Uh-huh, yeah, I get it. But things are changing. With Gensler stepping down, there's this a sense that the regulatory environment might become more favorable for crypto ETFs in general,
Right. And plus, Ripple isn't just sitting around. They've been actively working to address the SEC's concerns, strengthening their compliance measures, building partnerships with those established financial institutions.
It's like they're trying to prove they're, serious about playing by the rules.
Right, showing they can be responsible.
Exactly. And several asset managers have already filed applications for XRP ETFs. So the pressure is on, the SEC to actually make a decision. And if they approve even one, well, it could be like a domino effect, leading to a wave of approvals and, potentially a surge in XRP investment. It's a big deal.
Okay, so this is definitely something we need to keep a close eye on. Sounds like the stakes are pretty high.
They are. If XRP ETFs become a reality, it could be a watershed moment, not just for XRP, but for the entire crypto market.
So let's bring it back to our listener, the one who sent us all this research in the first place. They're trying to figure out what to do with their XRP. Right now, it's sitting at, a pretty nice profit. But is this the time to cash out? Or is holding on, or even buying more, the smarter move?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no easy answer. It all depends on their individual risk tolerance, their investment goals, and, their belief in XRP.
But based on, everything we've talked about today, the potential regulatory changes, the stablecoin, the possibility of these ETFs, it sounds like there's still a lot of fuel left in the XRP tank.
There's definitely potential. But remember, crypto, it's a volatile market. We've seen huge surges followed by pretty dramatic crashes. It's part of the game.
So how do we help our listener make sense of all this? How do they sift through all the hype and speculation and, actually make an informed decision?
One of the most important things is to to be aware of potential bias. Who's presenting the information? What are their motives? Do they have a vested interest in promoting a certain outcome?
So don't just blindly trust those attention-grabbing headlines.
Right. Dig a little deeper. Do your own research. Try to understand the context.
And be wary of those super optimistic or pessimistic predictions. No one has a crystal ball, right?
Exactly. The future of XRP, just like any asset, is it's uncertain.
Earlier, we talked about crypto Michael, who's basically saying XRP is going to the moon. He's predicting this massive FOMO frenzy once it breaks its all-time high. Then we have analysts like Alex Kopsicovich from Ethics Pro, and he's urging caution, reminding everyone that corrections are likely, even if XRP's been, relatively stable recently.
It's about finding that balance.
So how do we make sense of these different viewpoints? How do we balance the potential rewards with the risk that come with, investing in something like XRP?
I think part of it is understanding that, investing in cryptocurrency is, well, it's inherently speculative. You're essentially betting on the future. And that future is influenced by a lot of factors, many of which are, beyond our control.
So it's not just about, looking at the charts and crunching numbers. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the forces that are shaping the whole crypto landscape and being prepared for anything.
Right. And having a clear strategy, setting realistic expectations, and never investing more than you can afford to lose.
That's solid advice. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into XRP, let's bring it back to our listener's original question. Hold, sell, or buy more? Based on everything we've discussed, what would you say are the key factors they should be considering?
I think the first thing they got to ask themselves is, how much risk are they comfortable with? Can they handle those ups and downs that come with the crypto market? Or would a sudden drop, keep them up at night?
Yeah, that's a good point. There's no shame in playing it safe, especially with something like crypto.
Right. And it's not just about risk. They need to think about their goals too. What are they hoping to achieve with this investment? Short-term gains? Or are they in it for the long haul?
Yeah, because if they're looking for, a quick buck, XRP might not be the best play right now. I mean, it's already gone up so much. A correction is always possible.
Exactly. But if they believe in and the long-term potential of XRP, if they're okay with riding out the bumps along the way, then holding on or even buying more, it might make sense for them.
Okay, so risk tolerance, investment goals, got it. What else should they be thinking about?
Well, they got to factor in everything we've talked about today: the potential regulatory changes, the stablecoin launch, those ETFs. All these things could impact XRP's price in the future.
It's almost like, I don't know, like trying to predict the weather, right? So many variables, it's impossible to say for sure what's going to happen.
That's a great analogy, and that's exactly why it's so important to stay informed, to keep up with what's happening in the crypto world, and be ready to to adjust your strategy.
So no easy answers, but a lot to consider, and ultimately it's up to our listener to to decide what's right for them.
That's right. Is their money, their investment, their call.
But hopefully this deep dive has given them the information and the tools they need to make that decision with with confidence.
I hope so. We've covered a lot of ground. XRP's price surge, ripples, innovations, the whole regulatory landscape.
It's been a wild ride, but that's crypto for you, isn't it? Always changing, always throwing curveballs.
It's what keeps things interesting.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into XRP. But, the conversation doesn't have to end here.
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage everyone to keep exploring, do your own research, ask questions. Don't be afraid to think for yourself.
There's tons of resources out there: articles, analyst reports, forums, social media, you name it. Stay curious, stay engaged, and most importantly, keep learning.
And if you're looking for a good place to start, we've included links to some of the resources we use in the show notes. Check them out.
So until next time, happy investing, everyone. And remember, knowledge is power, especially in the world of crypto.
And as always, invest wisely. Never invest more than you can afford to lose.